Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video we're talking about some changes to Ret Paladin for Dragonflight Alpha here, and some pretty big news here. There's not a lot, as you can see on the screen, only 3 things, but these are some pretty big things and a pretty big overarching thing to talk about at the end. So let's go ahead and get into it here. First thing, the biggest thing, Divine Protection has been added as a choice node with Shield of Vengeance. Cooldown increased to 2 minutes. So if you only play Rat, let's go over what Divine Protection is really quick for you. Divine Protection, normally a 1-minute cooldown, reduces all damage you take by 20% for 8 seconds. So this is a very common damage reduction for most classes. This will be on a 2-minute though instead of a 1-minute. I don't think it's very common that different specs have different lengths on their cooldowns. So I would love to fight for a 1 minute on the cooldown or less, or 1.5 or something. But this is a very, very good change. It's something we've been screaming for. The Ret community in general, it's something I've talked about a lot, something everyone's talked about a lot, something that to press when a boss, hard mythic boss, does a unavoidable amount of damage, maybe purging protocol from Guardian in the current Fated raid in Sepulcher, or in a Mythic Plus encounter when a boss just does a massive AoE to the entire group. Be nice to have a button to press to mitigate that damage by 20% in this case, instead of a shield that pops instantly and still does a huge chunk of your health anyways, because it doesn't really do much. I think my current shield in Shadowlands shields me for like 24,000 health. It just doesn't do much in a high-end encounter. I understand, for a normal encounter, it shields you pretty well, even on a normal raid or low mythic plus, even in heroic raid, especially the first couple bosses, Shield of Vengeance holds up. But as soon as you get into that harder content, it just doesn't. So this is a great change. And now let's look at where it is on the tree. So it's a choice with Shield of Vengeance now. So right here, it's not an updated tree, but this is where it'll be: Divine Protection, Shield of Vengeance, both 2-minute cooldowns. Now if you're in an encounter, however, where you don't necessarily need a big defensive, where there's not this ton of unavoidable damage, you can actually choose Shield of Vengeance still for damage, right? So you'll have a damage choice and a defensive choice. And sometimes you'll just choose the damage choice still, right? But for those encounters where you need a DR and makes bringing a Ret Paladin really hard, when you absolutely need one, you have one to choose. And that's really cool. That adds that to our toolkit. So now we could have Divine Shield, Spell Warding, and Divine Protection. The cooldowns are a bit long on them at 2, and then the longer cooldowns for the Forbearance abilities. But still, it's a nice little toolkit to have, and we can push for it to be better. We could ask for it to be better. I don't think they'll do that, but it doesn't hurt to ask. And this is overall a really good change. Let's get to the next one. Justicar's Vengeance now costs 3 holy power and deals 7% less damage. So 2 less holy power and a little bit less damage. I don't think people were really worried about the damage of it. Basically, it's just kind of a flawed ability because it doesn't really work with anything. We get extra damage, from Final Verdict or whatever, from our or Templar's Righteous Verdict, that talent for our Templar's Verdict, and this doesn't really scale with anything, so it just ends up doing way less damage, right? However, this is something a lot of people talk about, Justicar's Vengeance being just a dead talent. It's worthless. Nobody picks it. I will say that this is tuning on it that tries to make it a usable thing, right? I think their idea of this has always been to kind of be like a Death Strike for DKs. And I will say, in Legion, I did use this talent on a boss. I believe it was called King Garoth. I'm not sure if that's definitely a boss's name, but I'm not sure if it was that boss. Me and a DH, who obviously has a lot of leech and stuff like that, would go over and solo one of the intermission ads. If it's not King Garoth, it's the boss, whether the boss is in the middle. There's a bunch of spinny orbs. Intermissions, there's 3 different corners, like a red, blue, and purple or something like that. And then you go to them, and you have to kill 2 of them or something before the intermission's over. And with Justicar's Vengeance on a Divine Purpose proc, I was able to keep myself healed up and go over there without a healer, right? That was the whole goal, is to go there without a healer. So if they could tune that to be niche and usable once in a great while, that's good. They at least heard the complaint, right? And then the talent locations of Ashes to Ashes and Divine Toll have been swapped. Now this is one that probably not a lot of people talked about, but this is something I specifically mentioned in my video. This exact thing. If you are watching my video, first of all, please give me alpha. And second of all, thank you for listening to this. This is something I specifically mentioned. Ashes to Ashes, the current playstyle of it requires it to be it pretty much requires it, right? This allows you not to take Seraphim on the other class tree, and it's it works so well with Zeal and Blade of Wrath up here, and having it here in the middle, just more easy access to it. 100% a great move. Again, I might have been the only one talking about this, but this swap here is really good. It allows you to do some other things here too, especially like if you wanted to go only down the left side or only down the right side. Going on the left side doesn't change much because it's still Ashes to Ashes, but if you're trying to get Divine Toll, again, that doesn't change much. But if you want to do more on the right side, it does open up some more possibilities. I still think there's some work that could be done on the bottom. Like, Relentless Inquisitor just doesn't really feel good down here compared to some of these other things. So maybe Vanguard's Momentum swapping out there, and maybe just another single target thing under Final Verdict, something like that. I don't know for sure. I think the bottom could still use a little bit of work, but this is an excellent change. It just makes sense to me to have it there, to have it more easy accessible. It also kind of works really good. I called it like a triangle, and now it's like, now it's getting close to a perfect triangle here of Zeal, Blade of Wrath, Ashes to Ashes. Those are the three things that make the ret set bonus work right now, and so that's a really good thing. So yeah, the big takeaway here, guys, is that they are listening to our feedback. That's very important to note because someone somewhere, so someone watched my video, someone read Bolas's write up on Wowhead, someone popped into the ret Discord, somebody somewhere heard something and made some changes on these. So we need to keep giving the feedback. Go on the forums, give feedback. Keep giving feedback however you're giving feedback, because somebody somewhere heard it. And with this, we could hope for more things like less talent points for Divine Steed, some changes there, some changes to the amount of Avenging Wrath talent points that we have to have, maybe putting the crit back baked into the ability, which I talked about. So that we can maybe get some other things addressed as long as we keep giving the feedback. As I always say, try to give positive feedback, try to not be overly mean or whatever in your feedback, and try to be as professional as possible. But overall, these are really good changes. The Justicar's Vengeance one, not a huge deal, let's be honest, but the talent location is huge. I think it actually is huge, even if other people don't. And obviously the Divine Protection one, I think pretty much everyone's going to feel like that is a much needed, much overdue change. So yeah, I'm super excited for this, guys. Can't wait for this to play out and see what else we can get, right? Let's keep asking nicely and see what other toys we can get. That's it for this one, though. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel. That helps me out so much. And other than that, everybody, have a good one.